Imagine your worst headache, whether it was staring at the computer screen too long at work, maybe you got dehydrated when you did a little yard work, maybe you had too many Trulies the night before. No judgment, but what was your first reaction? If you're anything like me, you aren't going to reach for that bottle of ibuprofen in your medicine cabinet. You're going to grab a bottle of water, you're going to chug it, and you're going to knock that headache out. But have you ever stopped to think how a medication like ibuprofen became so readily accessible, or how grateful you are for the relief any medication has ever brought you? These medications are not brought by the headache fairies. They weren't always right at the tip of our fingers, and there are actually many steps a drug must go through prior to being available to you over the counter, or even by a prescription. So as a clinical research coordinator, I'm excited to explain to you today the process that a drug goes through, the different trials prior to being available, the various protocols involved in these trials, and the processes followed to ensure the safety of research subjects everywhere. So there are 4 phases a drug must go through. In the Clinical Trials Handbook, it states that the ultimate goal of drug development is the creation of a new, safe, and effective compounds for treating human disease. This is done in 4 separate phases. So during phase 1, there's newly developed medications that are first given to only a handful of human participants. So this phase is often used to determine the safety of the medication and the best dose to be given. During phase 2, a larger group of subjects will get the medication to monitor functionality, they monitor safety, they monitor the side effects, etc. Now in phase 3, a much larger group, normally over 100 patients, sometimes several hundred, get the medication, but some patients will also get a placebo or a sugar pill to compare the results to those who get the actual drug. This can only be done when it is ethical to do so. So for example, a patient with aggressive prostate cancer cannot ethically be given a placebo. This patient would have to be given an FDA-approved therapy in addition to the study medication or the placebo. So in phase 4, the FDA has already approved the drug. Now it can be prescribed by doctors, and during this phase, more information is gained through trials regarding the patient's life quality, expense of the drug, long-term effects, safety. While all the phases are important, what's even more important are the protocols followed during each trial phase. These are extremely important guidelines each trial must follow. So a protocol, according to the Food and Drug Administration's article online, Basics About Clinical Trials, is a plan that clinical trials follow to be conducted safely and effectively. So this includes study populations such as inclusion-exclusion criteria, what allows people in studies, what doesn't, schedule events that must be followed, the medications that are involved in the study, the dosing information, the time frame, what is meant to be proven or shown by the study. So how do patients know what they are signing up for when they agree to take part in these studies and they follow these guidelines and protocols? That is where the Institutional Review Board comes in. According to Taking Respect Seriously, Clinical Research and the Demands of Informed Consent, which was published in the Journal of Medicine and Philosophy, clinical research is not fully justified unless research participants are treated with respect by those who conduct and oversee clinical trials. So a key component of this respect is to secure the informed consent of all participants. This is where an important committee called the IRB comes in. They are also known as the Institutional Review Board, but in clinical research we call them the IRB. They are a group that review research to confirm the safety of subjects and their rights. So they review all documents provided to the patient, like study materials, advertisements, membership cards, the informed consent, etc. They play an important role in clinical research by requiring all clinical research sites to follow federal and local laws, as well as protecting the patient's well-being. All of this ties together and is very important because it all comes down to the safety. So while clinical trials are extremely complex, they're critical to the development of cutting-edge medications that could potentially save lives. The trials must go through phases. They have very specific protocols that must be followed to a T, and they have to be reviewed by the Institutional Review Board, or the IRB, to confirm the study is definitely for the participant's best interest. So while we may not be the headache fairies, clinical research teams may just bring you the next best thing. Thank you.